and as promised, here's the Aditya Birla Group Chairman Kumar Mangalam Birla talking exclusively to CNBC TV 18 on the rationale behind this restructuring and what it means for shareholders.
We have with us Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla. Mr. Birla, congratulations. It's a big day for you today. Help us understand the value unlocking that this will create, the mega multi-phase merger that this will create for the financial services business and for the merged entity. What is the broader vision?
So the financial service business, as part of the whole construct of this restructuring, gets listed. And we hope to list it by sometime middle of next year. So that in itself is a huge value unlocking proposition for both the sets of shareholders of Grasim as well as for Nuvo. Other than that, you're creating a behemoth that actually is a play on the India growth story. So if you believe in the India growth story, then this is a company that you would want to watch, you'd want to invest in. You've got a very interesting mix of businesses, some that are throwing up cash, some that are fast growing. You've got a very healthy mix of manufacturing and services in the basket.
Yeah.
So it's well thought through. We believe that it's going to create value for both sets of shareholders. If you look over the last few years as far as Nuvo goes, we've unlocked value by spinning off Carbon Black, we've unlocked value by spinning off Fashion. So this is very much in keeping with that theme. It's not really out of the blue.
So, Mr. Birla, this of course will have to, because it's a related party transaction, go through the majority of the minority shareholders' vote. And that approval is very essential for this entire restructuring to really go through. What will be your selling point, and how will you really pacify the shareholders of Grasim who may not want an exposure in the telecom business?
So the selling point essentially has to be around value creation. And we believe that we are creating value for both sets of shareholders. I think Grasim is also getting a stake in a very fast-growing sector through a very strong business like the Aditya Birla Financial Services Holdco.
Yes.
And I think that is something that the market really hasn't factored in. And I think that is a huge positive spin for Grasim.
So, Mr. Birla, of course, right now the way economics is panning out, these are challenging times for most of the big conglomerates in the country, and we just saw that one of the large conglomerates just finished a merger process, and it went on for about a year because the shareholders weren't happy and the promoters had to sweeten the deal. In such a scenario, of course, you haven't reached out to the shareholders. We will know from tomorrow on what really dialogue goes on. But if there is more concern coming in from the Grasim shareholders, are you also open to the idea of probably sweetening or revisiting the deal at all?
Not really. So we are coming from a place of conviction where we believe, like I said, that this is value accretive for both sets of shareholders.
Yeah.
The valuation has been done independently by two very reputed firms. We also have two firms that have done a fairness opinion on the valuation that has been done. So I don't believe that there is a case or that we'd even want to revisit what we've announced today.
Okay. I'm glad you clarified that, sir. And one more important clarity that you gave in the press conference was the fact that there won't be any added exposure to Idea. But are you ruling out the possibility that, it gives you a stronger case to be able to aid Idea? Would this not be a benefit for Idea in a broader sense?
So, I think that confusing this transaction with Idea is a misnomer. I don't think that this transaction per se has anything to do with Idea. Just to put things in perspective, Idea has invested almost 20,000 crores in the last 10 years with practically no fresh promoter funding. So they've reached out to a private investor, they've reached out to a strategic investor, they've raised funding through issuing QIPs. So there really is no need for Idea to bank on this newco for funding its own aspiration. It's a strong, financially strong and a distinct legal entity.
So Idea
and with
is
its own plans.
So Idea is one entity which may require cash, and you will look forward to that, not particularly from Grasim is what you're explaining. But what about the insurance, the NBFC business?
So we've clearly said that, this entity will own about 57 to 58% of the financial services business. So obviously, this is a growth engine in terms of providing finance, providing funding for the financial services business. I mean, that is something that we've said very upfrontly.
Okay, so taking
So
from that...
from there, you are the company will fund this particular business, which is very fast growing.
So it's not the only reason for this transaction, but it is an important reason for the construct of this whole
To give a stronger
restructuring package.
parentage for the fund infusion. In what form have you thought about that? Anything coming in to leverage the balance sheet of Grasim to help out the insurance, the NBFC?
So, it's going to be a sub with Grasim New having about 57-58% holding. So there is a very direct linkage it provides from the point of view of fungibility of funds.
Okay, but as far as the financial business is concerned, this is of course creating a larger, broader entity, and you pointed out that you will look at expanding it rapidly. But do you not believe that the financial business was already doing very well from an independent business perspective?
It is doing very well, but I think that this, like I said, gives it the firepower to grow much stronger and much faster, which is something that in the current structure, as it exists today, would have been a little more difficult.
So how much more funding would you look at putting in to be able to expand the footprint?
So a little difficult for me to give you a number, because there are 12 lines of businesses within the financial services space. But I think, like I said, there are ambitious growth plans. We have a track record of almost 20 years in this space. We have a leadership position in several of these business verticals. And therefore, obviously, the ambition is to grow.
Okay, there's a question that you were asked in the press conference, and I want to just highlight on that. At a later date, would it make sense to bring in a partner in terms of equity, in terms of even minority shareholding, if it can add value to the business?
So absolutely. I think if it adds value, we're very open to do that. There's no timeline. There's no sort of, we're not in a cash crunch, so we don't necessarily have to do that today or tomorrow. But if you get a good investor, and it's also about the valuation, I think that would give us a chance to fuel further growth of the business.
And also re-rate that particular business and value unlocking, because the way the entire industry is going, the way insurance sector is seeing some of the benchmark M&A deals that have been done.
So like I said, the idea of getting in a partner would be to fuel growth even further.
So partner, yes. A minority equity stake to a sponsor.
So when I say partner, I mean it in a broader sense.
Broader sense.
So we don't have the need for a strategic partner. But when I say partner, I mean, let's say a private equity investing in the holdco would be, in my construct, a partner.
Okay. Mr. Birla, as far as the financial services business is concerned, there has been volatility across the board, from macro volatility, from concerns about independent policies. What are the immediate challenges that you have put in place, given the fact that you're looking at growing rapidly? What are the immediate challenges that you foresee, and what are the levers that you've put in place to be able to reach the vision that you have been talking about? So
I think that boils down to risk management and huge focus by the operating team on the whole risk management part of this business. It's seen as being very core to growing this business. The quality of the book, I think, is very strong. If you just see the book from the perspective of the NPAs, I think it's abysmally small. So you're right. Quality of book, risk management, these are very important factors in this business.
There is volatility, though, in the business. Would you...
So in fact, for us, it's been a one-way street. So we've grown year after year for the last 5 years. And we're hoping that that's how it will be in the foreseeable future.
But what you've also created, Mr. Birla, over here in Grasim, anyways, it was a holding company of Ultratech, large cement company. And now it has become even larger holding company of three large businesses. That is even adding telecom as well as NBFC. So that shareholders do not like much. So that's also one of the concerns.
Clearly, the shareholders were reacting to news that they saw this morning and yesterday, which was speculative and inaccurate. I think that when they see the real construct of this transaction, they have every reason to feel very happy about it.
Okay, so Mr. Birla, in the broader sense, what is the kind of growth multiple in terms of valuation that you can assure? I understand you can't give numbers at this point, but what is the kind of growth multiple in terms of valuation that you can assure to shareholders as far as Grasim is concerned and as far as the financial business is concerned?
I don't think I can put out a number. I think it's very difficult to do that. It would be unrealistic to do that.
But keeping in mind the kind of growth that you have been seeing, there is a growth multiple, or there is a growth that you will foresee in the next 5 years' time.
Well, absolutely. The whole idea is to grow the business more aggressively.
But one question I wanted to slip in, because see, the way telecom sector is really changing very fast. There are so many different factors at play. What is your best game plan to really counter the kind of challenges that are there for
So
IT
like I was saying, Nisha, and I've been saying ad nauseum, this really has nothing to do with telecom and idea.
Not
so
this.
that's a question that we should address at some other point in time.